Dre Greenlaw, who tried to make a heroic return, got injured in his first game back, got injured in his second game back. Kyle Shanahan says he wants to talk to Dre Greenlaw about what he wants to do, but his gut is that he's going to shut him down for the season. What do you think the Niners should do with Greenlaw? Is this a complicated matter?
I think they should shut him down, Iggy. I think if Greenlaw can't take care of his own well-being because he's so eager to play, then someone superior to him in the organization, I don't mean better, but a higher position, should do what's in his best interest. So I think they should shut him down. But I also want to say our dear friend Matt Mayoko put up a podcast yesterday saying it's a little more complicated than that Greenlaw wants to play to show the Niners he could play or other teams he can play. And so the Niners sitting him would maybe not be in his best interest. But when you and I, and so I appreciate what Matty did, but you and I discussed it yesterday, and you had a very sensible solution.
Yeah, I understand that Greenlaw wants to show that he's healthy and that he can be healthy and that he's worthy of a team investing in him long term or in a big way. But for him to show that, he has to actually be healthy. And if he's actually healthy, then he can practice. This week, he was limited in practice because he left the previous game with the knee injury. So it seems to me a fair compromise if he refuses to shut himself down, is to say, all right, Dre, you can play if you practice every day this week and you're not limited.
It seems so sensible to me, and that he and his representation ought to agree to that and understand it. If the poor guy is not well enough to practice, I mean, they have an extra day. If he's not well enough to practice, he shouldn't play. Simple as that.
Yeah, like coming into this past game, he was questionable. That should have been an ixnay, a questionable. The game doesn't count. You got nothing to play for, and he's not 100% healthy. So that should have been an easy decision, because look what happened. Fourth play in, he felt tightness and left the game. That was avoidable. But maybe he comes back week 18 and it means something to him to show that he can play. Fine, but he has to practice beforehand.
I agree. And finally, the decision is the team's, not his.
Good point. Kyle Shanahan said he wanted to talk to Greenlaw first. There's a little too much of that. What even his teammates were saying is, you got to protect him from himself, which means you got to make the decision, even if it upsets Dre Greenlaw.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what a coach does.
Right.
A coach decides who plays and who doesn't play, how much people play. So this is an example of where Kyle Shanahan can step up and be a head coach. If the guy can't practice, if the guy seems hurt, then you say no, and we'll deal with the repercussions down the line. That's what a head coach does.
Yeah, and it's not like you're doing something that's unfair to Dre Greenlaw. You're really doing it with his best interests at heart.
Absolutely. I mean, it would be better for the Niners if he played. They'd maybe win a game. They're not going to win this next game, but maybe they could win a game or perform pretty well. But I think in this case, and the Niners seem to have a heart. Shanahan seems to have a heart. I don't want to hurt this guy. He's been through so much. So if you feel the guy's going to get hurt again, it's not his decision, Kyle. It's yours.
Right. Like just how they're not playing Trent Williams down the stretch. He said, given our situation, it doesn't make sense to play him. He's still hurt.
Yeah.
But if a guy is a little bit hurt, and he's important to your future, then don't play him, especially in these games that don't count.
And especially for what he's been through.
Yeah.
Why risk it? If it's a risk more than a regular football risk, which is a lot, but if it's more than that, you don't play him. And from what I saw on TV of the post-game talk of the players, they don't want him to play if he's going to injure himself.
Yeah, I mean, he just tore his Achilles. He rehabbed for 10 months. That's tough. And the idea that he may have, when you have a calf strain, that probably feels similar. It's in the same spot. He was probably terrified. The idea that he may have potentially done the same thing again and had to do the whole rehab again, that could be a career killer. So yeah, they got to be really careful with him. That was too much of a close call.
So that's our advice to the Niners. And at some point, Kyle, you need to be the grown-up in the room.
Yeah, and Kyle needs to think about how his players look at him, because we all sort of know him as the guy who looks down at his play sheet when a player gets hurt. We've seen him do it a lot of times. Greenlaw is like the emotional center of the team. Players like love him and they respect him, and you gotta protect him, because if it looks like you're just throwing him to the wolves before he's ready and he gets hurt again, what did the Godfather say? He might hold some people in this room responsible for that.